Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beilein No Victory podcast. It's episode 14. We'll get right into it. So, we're going to go over a recap of the Rutgers game on Sunday. It's a good win. And we'll go over the preview for game against Purdue, number 3 ranked Purdue, on Thursday. Talk a little bit about Tom Brady. And then we're going to play CreateAConference and look at non-Power 5 teams. So this game on Sunday really showed me something. They came off that loss to Nebraska. They weren't down. They're ready to play, and they won a game they should win. But one thing that they really showed me is that they can play really well against really physical teams. That's something a team like Michigan State can't do. Michigan State had trouble both times with Rutgers. They beat them both times, but they really should not have won the second game because Rutgers is physical. And that was the argument for Michigan State fans. And you see Michigan go up against a team like this and have no problem beating them. An easy 15-point win. Absolutely no problem. Rutgers, they're not a very good team. They're really not. They'll be lucky to make the NIT. I don't think they're going to make the NIT. They're not a very good team. I thought it was a good win. They showed me they can play against physical teams, but, it is what it is. You got to move on, though. Can't keep your eye on this game because they got a big one on Thursday against Purdue, and this is probably the biggest game of the year so far. Number 3 ranked team in the country in West Lafayette. It's a big-time ESPN game. 2 ranked teams. I think they're going to go in there and win. You see my prediction there? I think Michigan wins. Close game. I think they're going to be mad last time because the referees cost them that game last time. The Wagner foul and the horrible calling out of bounds play. I expect them to go in there and win. I really do. I think they're good enough to go in there and win. I think they will. It's a tough place to play, but I see them doing that. And I think a big key in this game offensively is going to be Duncan Robinson. In the last game, he really found himself. He made 4 threes against Rutgers. He played a good game at 12 points, 4 for 8 shooting threes. I think he's going to be a big, big key in this game. Coming off the bench, because they should start Livers. He's been playing well enough to keep starting. But coming off the bench, Robinson's going to be a huge key in this game. He's got to make threes in this game. He has to make shots. Defensively, they need to stop. I think Haas was not as much of an issue as I thought he would be. Neither was Vincent Edwards, but the real problem, especially in the second half, was Carson Edwards, their point guard. He was making shots from all over the place. You got to keep a hand up on him. There's no way he should be able to get any open shots off, and that needs to be their main focus tomorrow. If they can shut him down, they'll be able to win the game. If they win, it's another resume-building win. Right now, they're probably, in my opinion, a 6-7 seed in that area. This bumps them up to about a 5, and it'll move them up in the rankings quite a bit if they win this game in West Lafayette. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Tom Brady. I want to just take a minute here or so to congratulate him on making his 8th Super Bowl. He'll be going for his 6th ring. There is absolutely no question that he is the greatest quarterback of all time, and he's probably the greatest player of all time. And there's an argument to be made that he's the greatest pro athlete of all time. I think he surpassed Michael Jordan, especially if he wins. He's definitely surpassed Michael Jordan. And if I think he's already, Michael Jordan was really alone in his competition. If he wins the Super Bowl, I say he surpassed Michael Jordan. And obviously the greatest Michigan player to ever go on and play in the NFL. And he's probably the greatest player of all time. I want to congratulate him making another Super Bowl. And another comeback win in a big game. Okay, so I wanted to get back to this. I've been talking about this for a while. Another CreateAConference. This time I went in the direction of non-Power 5 teams. I have a strong bias against non-Power 5 teams, but there are some good teams, basketball-wise, that always have a chance at winning. And I threw some good football teams in here as well. So we'll start with the 2 teams at the top. UCF, self-proclaimed national champions. They're a top 10 team in the year. They definitely deserve to be here. They're a good team. They're quick. They're still young. They're going to be pretty good next year. and they beat a good SEC team in the Peach Bowl, so they definitely deserve to be up here. I'm not sold on them at all. I think 8 times out of 10, Auburn beats them handily, but it wasn't their day, so whatever. But UCF definitely deserves to be here. This is not in order, by the way. Then we go to USF. They usually have a pretty good football team. They gave UCF a run a couple times. It was either them or Memphis right here for me, and I think USF has surpassed them football wise. Wasn't really considering basketball for either of the two. I think USF has surpassed them. Uh, and then these next few here, 3 through 7, they're all Big East, which you really could consider a Power Six conference. It is a Power Six conference in basketball, but it's not part of the Power Five that I'm talking about. So I threw Gonzaga's not the Big East, but I threw in these teams here. Villanova, Xavier, Butler, and Creighton are all from the Big East. They're always in the tournament, and Villanova and Xavier and Butler, anyways, always seem like they have a great chance of winning it all. Creighton usually has a top 8 seed too. Um, these are all great basketball teams, great programs. A team like Gonzaga, they usually have a chance of winning it all unless they choke, like they like to do. Um, so that was my motivation for putting them in there. Houston, Boise State, and San Diego State. Those are some more football teams I wanted to put in. Boise State, it's kind of a no-brainer. They're dominating that conference out there, and I mean, no one really stops them out there. They do play in a bad conference though, so it is what it is there. But they're usually ranked. Houston they usually fall into the rankings too. Not this year, wasn't their year, but they're a team. They're a big brand, and they're a team that usually is competing in that conference, and they do a pretty good job usually. They had Tom Herman there. Obviously, he's not there anymore, but they usually have a pretty good team. San Diego State has been good for as long as I can remember. They're in the rankings once in a while. They usually have a real nice running game. Yeah, and those 3 teams definitely no-brainers from a football standpoint. Connecticut, UConn, no question they should be here. They've won 2 national titles in the last 10 or so years, and basketball, there's no question they should be here. I would like to see them play in a better conference, though, but whatever. And then this last spot is up for grabs between a few teams, but I went with Cincinnati. Football team's usually all right. Their basketball team is usually very good. They are usually in the tournament. So I went with Cincinnati here. And yeah, here's my non-Power 5 edition of the CreateAConference. Well, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. We will be back on we'll be back on Friday with another episode. And on Thursday, hope for the best in West Lafayette. Go Blue.